Hello everyone, my name is Terry Axe and I am speaking with you on behalf of the GRE program team at ETS. I want to welcome you to the presentation, Get the Power of Confidence Only with the GRE Revised General Test. Now what we're going to talk about today is several things that can make you feel more confident when you want to take the GRE test. The goal of today's presentation is simple. We want to put you on the path to doing your best on the test, and when we finish the broadcast, we want you to know all about the test, including what it is, how to register, what to expect at the test center on test day, how to get your scores, and how to send them to the schools of your choice. We'll also give you some information on how to prepare for the test using the free official GRE test preparation materials and more. Plus, we'll share some additional ways to help you make your application to graduate and business schools even stronger. We at the GRE program want you to be successful on test day. So let's get started with some information on how to do just that. So let me just say that one great piece of news is that the GRE General Test is accepted for both graduate and business schools worldwide. So you have more opportunities for your future than you would if you didn't take the test. Whether you're interested in obtaining a master's, MBA, or specialized master's in business, or even entering a doctoral or fellowship program, the GRE test is your first step along that path. Maybe you're not quite sure what you want to do, and maybe you're still thinking about what your options are. GRE scores are good for 5 years, so you can take the test now, and then you'll be able to use your scores when you're ready to attend a graduate program and when you need them. Taking the GRE Revised General Test is a smart choice because it can help give you the power of confidence. And what I mean by this is that the GRE test is accepted by graduate and business schools for all types of programs. It's in fact the most widely accepted graduate level admissions test in the world, so it can help you get where you want to go. It is the only graduate level admissions test with test-taker-friendly design features that let you skip questions and change answers and use more of your own testing strategies. Another big advantage of taking the GRE Revised General Test is that you can put your best scores forward with the Score Select option and send scores to schools, only those scores that you want them to see. And I'll be talking about that in just a moment. So how exactly do you get started with your future in the GRE? Well, it's really simple. Just register for the test. If you register early, then you're more likely to get your preferred testing location and test date. So you can create a preparation plan that focuses on your test date and allows you a lot of time to get ready. To register, simply go to ets.org/mygre to create your personal MyGRE account. It is the account you will use whenever you want to access information on your test date or view or send scores after the test date. After you create your account, you can sign up for the free GRE search service as well. This allows you to add the GRE search service to your profile, and this is a database where graduate and business school recruiters around the world look to find prospective students just like you. Especially if you match their recruitment profile, you may receive information about their programs, admissions requirements, even scholarships and fellowships to help you with your tuition. And remember, it's a free service, so we definitely advise you to check it out. And you can learn more about it on the GRE website. So before you create your My GRE account, you should definitely review the identification requirements in the GRE Information and Registration Bulletin or on the GRE website. And here's a very, very important point, so listen very carefully. Entering your name correctly is probably the single most important step in registering. It's also one of the most frequently asked questions about registration. I cannot stress to you enough that the name you use when registering must exactly match your ID documents, excluding any accents or spaces. So ensure that the spellings exactly match and be sure to provide your entire first name. So do not register using your nickname or with only the first initial of your first name. And you must supply your entire last name or your family surname. For those with a two-part last name, you need to be sure to supply your complete last name as it appears on your ID documents. Again, excluding accents and spaces. What you do is you put your first name in a top box, and then you'll have a second box for your last or family name, and you enter the entire last name without any spaces or accents. So for example, let's say that your last name is Fernandez de Cordova. You would enter that as a completely one word, Fernandezecordova, with no accents or spaces. To be sure that your registration goes smoothly, keep in mind this checklist. First, be sure to review the GRE Information and Registration Bulletin so you are familiar with the ID requirements, the testing policies and procedures, and to become familiar with score reporting. You know which schools you want to send your scores to, then be sure to check out their application deadlines so that your test date will allow you to meet the application deadlines. Once you're ready, you create your My GRE account at ets.org/mygre. And remember once again that the name you use in your My GRE account needs to match exactly and be spelled the same way as the name that appears on your official identification document or documents, excluding accents and spaces. And then you can sign up for the free GRE search service to help graduate and business school programs around the world find you. Finally, proceed to register and select the test date that works best for you. So, there is a screenshot of the My GRE account page, but what I want to do at this point, once you finalize your My GRE account setup, click the register button, and remember that when you select a test date, be sure to base it on the earliest admission deadline of those schools to which you're applying. The GRE test scores usually take about 10 to 15 days to process, so be sure to allow at least that much time for your university to receive your scores. After you register, you can also sign up for the free GRE search service. So now let's move forward. Couple of quick facts that I want to make sure that you know. On test day, be sure to get to the test center early. In fact, test takers should arrive at least 30 minutes before the start of the test. To be sure you know where to go, you may even want to consider visiting the test center in advance. On test day, before you leave the test center, be sure to check, before you leave to go to the test center, be sure to double check that you have your official ID documents with you. And these are the documents that you used when you registered for the test. Generally speaking, your passport. It's vitally important that you have your matching ID documents with you on test day, or you will not be permitted to enter the testing facility. Once you arrive at the test center, be sure to follow the test center policies and procedures. Remember, I said earlier to review these procedures on either the GRE website or in the registration bulletin, which is downloadable from the website. The information there will explain exactly what you need to bring with you, what you are allowed to bring into the center, and also how you should conduct yourself once you're at the center. After all, being prepared does help you have the best possible test day experience, and that will help you do the very best on the test. So here's another way to feel prepared, is to know what the test is like before you take it. And to help you with that, I'm going to walk you through the computer-based test, since this is the format taken by most of the people around the world. What I want to say to you is that the GRE Revised General Test is comprised of 3 measures: Analytical Writing, Verbal Reasoning, and Quantitative Reasoning. The first measure is always the Analytical Writing section. It's comprised of 1 section with 2 essay tasks, and you're required to write a separate essay for each of the 2 tasks. You have a total of 30 minutes to write each of the essays. Both the verbal and quantitative measures are comprised of 2 sections each. These sections can appear in any order after the analytical writing section. Each verbal reading section contains 20 questions, and you'll have 30 minutes to complete each of the verbal reasoning sections. Each quantitative reasoning section contains 20-minute questions, and you'll have 35 minutes to complete each of those sections. In total, the GRE General Test is approximately 3 hours and 35 minutes plus timed breaks. As I explained earlier, the analytical writing section always comes first. It is followed by 2 verbal reasoning and 2 quantitative reasoning sections that can appear in any order. In addition, all test takers will receive either an unscored section or a research section. You won't know if the section you're working on is an unscored section, so please try to do your best on every section you see. However, if you're receiving a research section, it will be clearly indicated, and it will always be the last section of your test. Whether you receive an unscored section or a research section, your answers to those 2 sections do not count toward your total score. So, since we know that everyone obviously needs an occasional break, there are breaks throughout the test. There is 1 10-minute break after the 3rd section of the test, and there are 1-minute breaks between each of the other sections. During the 10-minute break, this is a good time to use the restroom, restock your scratch paper, and just relax a little so you're ready to resume testing. If you decide that you need an unscheduled break anytime during the test, the clock does not stop. Once your test begins, the best strategy is to proceed without any interruptions. Now, let's move on to a few specific details to help you understand what each measure of the test is like. I'm going to start with the analytical writing measure because that's the first measure you're going to see when you take the test. Now, this measure assesses your critical thinking and analytical writing skills through 2 timed tasks. 1, you'll be asked to analyze an issue, and 2, you'll be asked to analyze an argument. You will type your responses on the computer using a keyboard. The software offers the basic functions of insert, delete, cut, paste, and undo. The verbal reasoning sections assess your ability to understand what you read and how you apply your reasoning skills. The question types include reading comprehension, test completion, and sentence equivalence. Reading comprehension questions are either multiple choice questions or select in passage questions. The multiple choice questions might ask you to select one answer choice or one or more answer choices. The select in passage questions will ask you to highlight your answer within the provided text passage. For text completion questions, you will see one or more sentences containing 1 to 3 blanks. You'll answer by selecting a choice for each blank presented. And finally, the sentence equivalence question type requires you to select 2 answer choices from a list of 6 choices that, when inserted into a sentence, create 2 sentences that are alike in meaning. Okay, the quantitative reasoning sections assess your ability to interpret and analyze quantitative information and solve problems using mathematical models. There are 4 different question types for this section. Quantitative comparison, where you compare data. Multiple choice questions, wherein you select one answer choice, and multiple choice questions where you select one or more answer choices. So be sure to look to see exactly what the question is asking. There are also some numeric entry questions wherein you have to solve for the correct answer and enter it in the appropriate field or fields. The quantitative reasoning section focuses on basic mathematical skills and elementary mathematical concepts. You will see arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and data analysis questions on the test. The on-screen calculator is available in the quantitative reasoning sections, and it's available on demand by clicking on calculator. You may want to use it, but it's not necessary to use it if you don't want to. Some questions can actually be answered faster through estimation or other methods. So consider when you need the calculator and when you do not. Okay, the verbal and quantitative reasoning sections of the test are what we call section level adaptive. And what does this mean to you as a test taker? Well, basically what it means is that the computer selects a second section of each measure based on your performance on the first section. A strong performance on the first section means you'll receive a more difficult second section, and the difficulty level is taken into account during the scoring process. However, within each section, all questions contribute equally to your final score. So, one of the myths that I want to dispel is that test takers often say they hear points are deducted for wrong answers. Well, that's totally wrong. Points are not deducted for wrong answers, so it's always better to guess than to leave an answer blank. Remember when I said you can skip questions and change answers when you take the GRE Revised General Test? So now think about your own test-taking strategy. Do you like to answer test questions in the order they appear? Do you like to review all the questions and answer the ones you are certain about right away, and then go back to spend more time on the questions you find more challenging? Perhaps you have another strategy. The design of the GRE General Test allows you to take advantage of all these options and use many of your own strategies also. That certainly adds to your feeling of confidence on test day. Now, other graduate level admissions tests require you to answer each question as it appears on the screen. You can't go back and see what you've already answered, and you can't move ahead until you answer the question in front of you. The good news here is that this is not how the GRE test works. It features a test-taker-friendly design, so you can approach the test using more of your own personal test-taking strategies. You can reconsider and change answers. You can mark questions that you answered to come back and review later. You can skip questions altogether and return to respond to them later. And also you have the freedom to go back and forth and navigate within a section. Okay, so when you click on the Calc button, that is when the on-screen calculator will appear, and you can use it to help you with the more complex calculations. So that explains a little bit about what the test format is like, which is always very important to help you feel confident when taking the actual examination. I also have a few quick tips for you. So that you do not, to help you build your confidence on testing. Don't waste time on questions you find extremely difficult, since no question carries greater weight than any other. Remember, all questions are equal. So it's best to answer every question that you can. Throughout the test, it's important to watch your pace and not to spend too much time on the review screen, as this can take away from the time that you have to answer all the other questions. Instead, use it as a way to check your progress and ensure that you answered each of the questions in the section before moving on to the next screen. Also, check the review screen before finishing a section to ensure that you have answered all the questions. Okay, just a moment. Remember that the best strategy is to answer all the questions in each section, even if you have to guess. This will help you achieve your very best score. Another great tip is to be attentive to the time, but do not rush. To help you with your pace, you can use the Show Time option so you can see the section clock, or you can hide it if that makes you feeling more comfortable. In the last 5 minutes of the test, the time will appear for your convenience. Okay, during the analytical writing test, be sure to organize your thoughts and prepare outlines to keep your essays focused. I always find that it's better to take a few notes because sometimes you see a question and you think of something good to say, and if you don't write it down, you may forget it once you start your essay. So plan your essay for a few minutes before you start writing. Also, be sure to leave a few minutes at the end of the section to check for obvious errors such as grammatical errors or misspelled words. Now, this gives you an understanding of what to expect on test day and some strategies for a strong performance. But let's move on to your actual scores. The scores for the analytical writing measure are reported in a 0 to 6 scale in half-point increments. Scores for the verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning measures are reported on a 130 to 170 scale in 1-point increments to help universities compare applicants. When you finish the last question of your test in the last section, you're going to see a screen that asks you to choose to cancel your scores permanently or to report or essentially review your scores. My advice is not to cancel your scores so that you can see your unofficial verbal and quantitative scores. If you view them and think they may not be your best, or if you just need more time to think about where to send them, you don't have to send them anywhere at that time. Only you will see your scores. However, if you view them and you're happy with them, then great. Using the Score Select option, you can decide to send your scores to the schools you designate. Remember, however, if you cancel your scores, neither you nor any schools will ever see them. They won't become part of your reportable history, and you won't have a sense of how you performed on the actual test. Since you have the choice not to send them anywhere with the Score Select option, it would be my recommendation for you to have a look at the scores to see areas where you may want to make improvements or areas where you already have a very good knowledge base. So what you're going to see on the screen is you're going to see your verbal reasoning and your quantitative reasoning scores. Because your analytical writing scores need to be reviewed and rated by the ETS raters, you will not see those at the end of the test. About 10 to 15 days after your test date, you'll be able to view your scores online through your My GRE account. When you're reviewing your scores online, you'll also be able to print a copy of your score report for your personal records as well. If you decide not to send your scores to any schools on test day, or you want to send scores to other schools, you can do so at any time through your My GRE account. That's what it's there for. Just select Order Additional Score Reports from the main menu, and you'll be able to send official copies of your scores to the institutions of your choosing for a fee. Remember, with the Score Select option, you can select the scores you want to send from your complete reportable history. So, when you look online, you're going to see your entire history, all the tests you've taken, and all of the scores you've received. However, when you send your scores to a university, you select which ones the university will see. So here's exactly how the Score Select option works. And the reason we have this option is that it's part of our desire to help you do your best on the test, and also to approach the test with confidence in case the scores you see may not be your personal best and you'd prefer that a university not see them. So, on test day, you're going to have the choice to send just the current scores from the particular administration or all of the scores in your reportable history. Now, whether you choose to send all of your scores or just the scores from test day, you always do need to send the entire administration. After test day, you have even more choices. You can send just your current scores. You can send all of your scores in your reportable history. But you also have the option to just select certain administrations. So if you've taken the test more than 2 times and you want to send only 2 of your scores, that's what you can do. Again, you do have to send the scores from your entire administration. So every time you send scores, it will include your verbal reasoning, your quantitative reasoning, and your analytical writing for that particular test date. Okay, so to sum up, the Score Select option is a great way for you to put your best scores forward and feel confident that you're giving the university the information that regarding your performance that you want them to see. It allows you to show schools your personal best, and that means you should feel more confident on test day. But if you want to take the test again, absolutely you can do that. You can take the test once every 21 days, up to 5 times within a 12-month period. So you always have an option to take the test again and only send the scores to the university that you want them to see. Now, as I mentioned, the GRE General Test definitely wants you to do your very best on the test. So to help you prepare, we offer a free official test preparation tools on our GRE website. The most valuable, I feel, is the PowerPrep 2 software, which provides you with 2 simulated computer-based test-taking experiences and is as close to the actual test experience as you can get. We also have a math review, which is a great refresher for basic math skills. It lets you review all the concepts that you may see on the test. For me, because most of the math is similar to math that you have taken in high school, it was extremely helpful to me to use the math review to review that portion of the test. The Math Conventions, which is also free, allows you to learn more about the mathematical assumptions particular to the GRE Revised General Test. There's also a downloadable test prep booklet if you're in an area where the paper-based test is given. We also offer additional official test preparation available from the ETS store and some bookstores and other online sellers, such as your Educational USA Advisors. Success Starter video series offers 3 concise videos to give you a solid review of the 3 test measures, a tour of the test taker-friendly features, test-taking tips, and more. Each video is less than 30 minutes long, so you can watch them as often as you like. The official guide to the GRE General Test, 2nd edition, is the most authoritative guide to the test. It gives you 4 real practice tests, hundreds of GRE questions with answers and explanations, and some proven success strategies. And this is available both in print and ebook formats, and the ebook is compatible with both the Mac and PC. The official mobile app for iPhone and iPad also features authentic test questions with answers and explanations, plus additional information from the official guide. So you can take and practice for the GRE wherever you happen to be. Finally, our Score It Now writing practice helps you practice for the analytical writing measure of the test. It lets you respond to real GRE analytical writing topics and get immediate feedback on your essays, and the cost for that is $13. To prepare with the support of other test takers, you can join conversation on the official GRE General Test page on Facebook. If you're in China, you can join the conversation on Sina Weibo. Be sure to connect and engage with other test takers from around the world. You may even want to share some of the information you learned today. To sum up, the GRE Revised General Test is test taker friendly, so you can approach the test in the way you want. You can skip questions, change answers, navigate back and forth throughout each section, and if you need to take the test again, you can do so once every 21 days, up to 5 times in a 12-month period. You have the advantage of sending schools only your very best scores with a score select option. And this is the only graduate level admissions test that is accepted for graduate and business schools worldwide. So certainly feel free to go ahead, register today, and get the power of confidence to do your best. Now I want to finish up with just letting you that a little bit more information. You may recall that at the beginning of the presentation I mentioned I would provide you with some ways to help you make your application even stronger. So one way to set your application apart from others is to add a GRE Subject Test score to your application. The GRE Subject Tests demonstrate your achievement in a particular field or fields of study, and each test assumes you have an undergraduate major or extensive background in the particular discipline. Now there are 7 subject tests: biochemistry, cell and molecular biology, biology, chemistry, literature and English, mathematics, physics, and psychology. So the tests are administered worldwide They're paper and pencil tests, and they're administered in the months of September, October, and April. Important, therefore, to be mindful of when the tests are offered and when the university will need to receive your scores. As a GRE test registrant, every time you take the test, you receive 4 free ETS Personal Potential Index, or ETS PPI, evaluation reports. Now, these reports complement and enhance your GRE score transcripts and are sent directly to the schools you select. What the ETS PPI reports provide is an evaluation of your strengths in 6 areas that deans and faculty have identified as important for success in graduate and business school: knowledge and creativity, teamwork, planning and organization, communication skills, resilience, and ethics and integrity. You select the evaluators, such as a professor or a supervisor, to provide the ratings and feedback on your success in each of these 6 areas. ETS will send the completed evaluation reports to the institutions you designate so they can review that as an additional piece of information as part of your application. And you can find out more information about the GRE Subject Tests and the ETS PPI on the GRE website. So the GRE program at ETS offers many helpful resources that you'll want to explore. Again, I mentioned the PowerPrep 2 software because this allows you to become familiar with the test itself, the format, how the questions how the questions might appear, the different types of questions, so that you become very familiar with the format and the directions on the test before you actually go into the testing experience. It also allows you to take some time to work on areas or skills where you feel you might want to improve your skills before taking the actual test. And it's free, so it's certainly a valuable resource. Another way to learn about resources that ETS provides is to go to the takethegre.com/signup and complete a simple form to find out even more information and advice from the GRE program. But I hope the information that you've received has been useful to you and will help you prepare for a successful test day. Please remember that we want you to do your very best, and we've provided a lot of resources and different strategies to help you do just that. So the very best of luck to all of you who are planning to take the GRE, and we certainly want you to achieve your educational goals. So at this point in the broadcast, I'm going to take some questions that people have typed into the question and answer page. Again, please be sure to type your questions into that box so that I can be sure to see them. And I will answer as many questions as time permits. Okay, so one of the first questions is it possible to admit at U.S. universities in a master program in engineering without the GRE exam? There are certainly universities that do not require the GRE exam. The difference is that if you take the GRE, you'll have many more opportunities and be able to select from many more programs. And since the score select option allows you to send your scores or not, you don't lose anything by taking the GRE. As a matter of fact, you gain additional options and opportunities for a larger variety of programs. Second question, my passport has only my first name, so when registering for the test, should I leave the last name box blank? I would, in this case, make sure that your passport is written in English, and I would write to our Office of Testing Integrity because this is not within the normal way of passports, and the identification does not follow the standard practice. So if you look on the GRE website under identification requirements, you will see a way to contact our Office of Testing Integrity to find out just what you should do to make sure that you'll be allowed to take the test and that your scores will be reported. They'll be able to give you advice on that, and you'll need to contact them at least 2 weeks before the actual test date to make sure you have the information you need. What ID is required on the test day apart from the passport? The passport is the ID that is required. Again, you can look on the GRE website under identification requirements to see what other forms of ID might be acceptable, but by and large, the passport is the ID that you'll want to supply for the test. And again, I can't stress enough how important it is for the name on your registration to exactly match the name on your passport. Again, your first name and then your last name, if it's more than one word, you combine it as you make it as one word without any spaces and without any accent marks. Okay, someone's asking to send the slides of the presentation. I'm not 100% sure whether that is possible with this College Week Live broadcast. However, what I can tell you is that if you look on the GRE website, you will find some information that includes just what I've spoken about today, so those should be very useful to you. And all of this information is on our GRE website. And again, if you want to have more information about the test itself, please look at the free Power Prep 2 software, which is free of charge and you can download at any time. Okay, which book or guide did I mention for improving verbal and analytical sections? I mentioned a couple. One of them was the official guide to the test, which includes 4 different practice tests, as well as several questions and answers provided for the verbal and analytical writing. And we also actually have 2 new books from McGraw-Hill, the official GRE Verbal Reasoning Practice Questions and the official GRE Quantitative Reasoning Practice Questions, and they each have 150 new, never before published questions with explanations. The verbal book also includes new sample tests for the analytical writing measure, and both books are available in print and ebook. I also mentioned for analytical writing the Score It Now, where you can submit an essay and get immediate feedback, and that is $13 per question. If you go into the GRE website and look at Prepare, you'll see a list of all of these different resources to help you prepare for the exam. Right? There's a question regarding how many words should you write for the analytical or issue section. There really is no specific number of words that make up an acceptable response. Basically, you need to answer the question, and the question will ask you to include specific information in your response. So make sure that you're writing a complete response and answers the question with as many words as you feel are necessary to have a coherent essay. Okay, what level of math is required to be successful in GRE? As I mentioned previously, the The math is generally math that was taken at a secondary school level. And generally speaking, this includes arithmetic, statistics at a level that is generally no higher than a second course in algebra. So it includes a basic understanding of arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and data analysis. It does not include trigonometry, calculus, or other higher level mathematics. Then there is a free math review available if you wanted to practice and work on some of the mathematical problems. Okay, there's a question asking whether you can take any snacks or water with you to the test. It may be possible for you to take them and leave them, but you cannot have them in the testing room. But you may be able to have them available to you during the 10-minute break. If you require either snacks or anything else because of a specific disability or health-related issue, please go to the GRE website and click on the link. There are special instructions if you require accommodations for testing. And they are available, but you need to register separately if you need those types of exceptions. So again, you can't take anything into the test room with you except your passport, which will be checked. Okay. Someone is saying that they are applying for a PhD in business and want to know which section of the G is most important. I don't see the entire question, but as far as a field of study in business, let me see. As far as a business field of study, generally speaking, they are interested in your quantitative section. However, business is all the verbal section and the analytical writing section are also very important because it's important to be able to communicate with others. So really, I think that it would be worth your checking with the specific program in which you're interested to see what type of requirements that they have. Okay, someone has already registered to take the exam in October and does not have the official GRE Guidebook, wants to know how to get it. Again, there's an app that you can get with an iPad or an iPhone. And again, I would definitely check out the PowerPrep 2 software that is available on the website and can be downloaded today. If you want to try to get the official GRE Guidebook, that's available as an ebook, which you should be able to receive practically immediately, and that's available at the ETS store. So if you go into the GRE website, up in the top, you'll see a link to the store, and you can order it there. Or if you click a link to prepare for the test, you'll find a link to also purchase that if you need it. Okay, is there any break during the exam? Okay, as I mentioned previously, there is a 10-minute break during the exam after the third section. So your first section is always writing, and then your next sections, there are 2 verbal and 2 quantitative sections that can appear in any order. But after 3 sections, so that's analytical writing and 2 more sections, there will be a 10-minute break. Okay, someone is asking about vocabulary lists. Now, generally speaking, there's no specific vocabulary list that you need to practice for the verbal reasoning section, but you should be be reading books and articles that are at an introductory university level. So a variety of different types of academic reading materials, because the verbal section does not have discrete vocabulary questions. It's more how well you can synthesize the information and interpret a text. It's much more important for you to have a lot of practice reading academic materials. Okay, do you need to pay extra for the official guidebook? Is it already included in the fee? The official guidebook is a separate price. What is free is the Power Prep 2 software, and you have access to that whether you register for the test or not. And I want to mention again, the score select option would allow you to send only the scores you want to the test site. I want to mention again the importance of writing your name exactly as it appears on your identification. I want to mention that you should sign up for the search service and consider using the ETS PPI to enhance your application. I know that the broadcast may have been difficult for you to see, but all of the information I shared with you today is available on the GRE website. At this point, it's just about time. It's time for me to stop the broadcast. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I definitely appreciate all of your attention. The questions were great, and I wish each and every one of you success when taking the GRE Revised General Test. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.